We're live.
Okay. Folks, I'm calling the meeting to order. We've got a long agenda again, so let's get started. Number one, I call the meeting to order. Number two, do we have Joanna Murray?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Reappointment to the Municipal Employee Retirement Board. Term expires December 31st, 2028, and she is from the heart of Tulsa CD9. So thank you and welcome. Thank you. Stop. You got it. Thank you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you would like to serve in this capacity.
Sure, I'm Joanna Murray. I am a City of Tulsa employee. I've been with the city for 13 years now. I started out in finance, and now I've been with Water and Sewer as their financial planning manager. And I've been with Water and Sewer for 7 years. So I really enjoy my job.
Great.
So I've been serving on MERP now for almost 3 years, and I enjoy it. I've learned a lot. My goal is that when I retire in 20 years, we'll have a healthy, fully funded pension plan.
Well, there you go. Yay, we appreciate that. All right. Any questions or comments?
No, just thanks for being willing to serve in this capacity.
Thank you.
Some extra demands on your time, and I see 34, 38 meetings, that's a lot.
Yes.
And we will be voting on you at the 5 o'clock meeting on the 21st. You don't have to be present, but if you are more than welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joanna.
Thank you.
All right, number 3, ordinance amending Tulsa Revised Ordinances, Title 51, Building Code, Chapter 1, the International, or the ICC International Building Code. Amendments to that code, updating subsection 305.2.4, and aligning and deleting. Basically, this has to do with licensed family child care homes and large child care homes to comply with the residential code.
Hi, Counselor.
Hi.
Sarah Davis from council staff. Counselor Bellis is the sponsor of this item, but she's not able unexpectedly to make this meeting. And so she is requesting if this can remain on first reading tonight, but we would put this on committee next week for discussion. And if the council's comfortable, then you could proceed with second reading at that time. If you do have any questions based on the backup material today, I can write those down and make sure that we bring answers next week. Or you can give them to me throughout the week and we'll make sure those get answered. But a request to push this to next week's
Are you all
committee.
good with that? Yep. That's what we shall do. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah.
So is this still on for first reading tonight?
Counselor Bellis would like for it to
Okay.
still remain on
Yeah.
first reading tonight.
Okay.
Keep it moving. Number 4, resolution authorizing the convenience of certain real property owned by the City of Tulsa to Harbor LLC, an Oklahoma nonprofit limited liability company for the purposes of renovating, managing, and maintaining said property for uses relating to the homeless community, including use as a low barrier shelter, declaring that Harbor LLC has the expertise to cause the operation and programming of such a facility. And who do we have?
Jeff.
Yes, hello,
Hi.
Emily, go ahead.
Okay, thanks. And Roger from Asset Management is here as well. This has an emergency on it. We just acquired the Old County Juvenile Detention Center on Monday, and we are now putting it up for surplus for the purpose of transferring title to the Harbor LLC. The consideration is for the redevelopment and their financial investment into converting that to a homeless shelter.
Counselor Gilbert.
What is our responsibility after it's converted?
As far as, we will transfer title so the city would no longer own the property.
Okay, so when it's converted, who's running the programming, and are we somehow financially still involved?
There has been a commitment in that to looking at how do we contribute towards operating costs of a low barrier shelter, but what that looks like has yet to be determined.
Okay.
When does that come up for discussion?
I mean, we've had some discussion, but I think that's ongoing.
So you do plan to come back and tell us what that looks like, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of
Okay.
ongoing revenue discussions.
Okay.
Councilman?
What's the timeline of all of this happening? I mean, with the shifting of the title and the
Yeah.
conversion of the building?
Sure, the emergency allows, I'll let Roger explain what the emergency allows for.
It allows for us to try to meet the timeline that Zara wants to get in there. They want to get in there immediately to start doing their assessment of the property. We believe, based on talking with legal, that next week is when the time frame that we want to be able to have the conveyance occur, so they can start on their development concept. We really was able to acquire this building pretty inexpensive. It's like $10 a square foot, so this site. And it's a functional building. It needs some renovation done inside, but they plan on doing something pretty extravagant. So the sooner that we can get the conveyance done, they can get started on the meeting. That's their intent right now. So, so far, so good on working with the county.
And just to add this will go before council tonight for the vote. If that is approved tonight, then once we're in the process of finalizing the contract between the city and the harbor, the development arm of Zero for this entity, or for this property, once that's finalized, then the mayor can sign the surplus resolution and we'll be able to close.
Okay.
As far as the opening date, Jeff?
Yeah, Jeff, you
Sure.
introduce yourself.
Hi, yeah, Jeff Hall with Harbor LLC, or Henry Zero Foundation. Thank you guys for having me. As Emily and the city staff mentioned, we think, almost there with the contract, and that will be the final hurdle. Obviously, your approval tonight allows us to proceed to that next step and have the mayor and us execute it. If we can get the building this month, our intent has always been that we move, and we have already moved, I should be clear, but there's certain things we can't do without having the building. And so our intent would be able to proceed and still target to open by next winter, or December is our intent. We have active procurement, we've got active design underway. To your point on revenue, I mean, that is something that we've talked about quite a bit. Obviously, we can't control what the city chooses to do. We do think that's an opportunity for public investment, continued investment in the future. If this opens in December, obviously this would be a next fiscal year thing. We are looking to how do we bridge operating costs through the launch, but it is an ongoing conversation that we hope we could continue.
But as we go into budget retreat, we gotta get in a plan.
Yep, yep, that's what I was,
I hear where you were going with those questions.
so your timeline for opening is December of this year?
We want as quickly as possible. How do we beat next winter? I think I'm gonna ride our consultants as hard as we can, but more reasonably, it's probably November, December at the current stage. If we slip, obviously that's subject to change.
Right, okay,
But there is an ask from this municipality
Yeah.
for ongoing operations.
yep, yep.
So we gotta get in that plan budget.
Is there an estimated budget request for that yet?
We know that the anticipated yearly operating expenses are around 2.5 million, and so the request has not been for that full amount,
Okay.
but to have a conversation about what might it look like to invest in a portion of that.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Other questions?
Getting it done.
Oh, no doubt on getting it
Yeah.
done, I'm just budgetary, just trying to
Ongoing.
Do you have anything?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. When can we expect updates as this progresses? Is it like a monthly thing that we can get updates? Is it every other month?
Yeah, I'm happy to provide you monthly. It depends on the month, may not be
Okay.
much to give you.
Or
but,
quarterly.
Yeah,
Right,
quarterly maybe
quarterly.
more appropriate.
Quarterly.
Especially in this first quarter, as you ramp up,
Right.
our design team will be really getting after it and pushing
Right.
hard. We're hoping to do some really early selective demolition to be able to see what's in the walls, which is the hardest part on a renovation project. But as far as what most people want to see, which is exterior updates, that's going to take some time for sure. And then obviously we have our operator identified and they'll be out here along the ride, and so we're excited to bring them to Tulsa. So,
11 months is pretty fast.
Yep.
So it may be a good month.
sure, I'm happy.
Yeah, especially with the budget.
Yes, happy to.
Discussion.
Right,
Yeah.
okay,
May, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
that's okay.
All right, put it on your calendar.
Let's
We'll
do it.
see you in May.
Harbor.
Thank you all so much.
Thank
Much
you.
appreciated.
Jeff, thank you so much
Thank you.
for your all's investment in it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, number 5, resolution adopting
I know.
2023 City of Tulsa Low Impact Development Reference Guide and the LID Inspection and Maintenance Manual prepared by the Oklahoma Water Survey at the University of Oklahoma for the City of Tulsa. Do we have anybody here to talk about that? Nope.
If you want
Question?
to go to the next item, I'll look and see who's on the RFA while you go to the next item.
Okay, we'll come back to number 5. Number 6, license agreement between City of Tulsa and Kendall Whittier Main Street, Inc. for property located at various locations to install decorative vinyl wraps on City of Tulsa traffic control cabinets in the city's right-of-way. Mr.
Good
Zachary.
afternoon and Happy New Year to you all.
Happy New Year.
Still January. Before you is an application for, and we are doing it under a encroachment type permit, so it gets the review of all utilities and all interested stakeholders. But what we've got is a permit application from Kendall Whittier Main Street, Inc. to install decorative vinyl wraps on City of Tulsa traffic control cabinets in the city's right-of-way in various locations across Kendall Whittier District. Can we pull up, starting on about page 7 in Exhibit A. Okay. What this is there are, I believe, there are 8 locations across Kendall Whittier, and in the handouts, yeah, it's way down to a map, looks like this.
Okay, I'm reading all that.
Yeah, that's good, that's very good.
I knew.
Keep
Yeah,
going,
I'm a
keep going, keep going.
speed reader.
Right there, okay, so there's the locations, you can see where they are, there's over there at 7, 8, over there to the far west. But if you roll down to the next, this is just an example of what's in the deal. We have a location, the artwork that is being shown, and that gets surrounded, and everybody gets to approve what it is. And as you roll on down through there, we have all 8 locations. That's fine.
Are we just doing A, because I have some that we could.
Yes, no, there are. This is the initial process of
Okay.
it. So this just kind of shows at the different sites, and each one, the artist that did it is noted on the application, so you can.
It's gonna look
I mean,
a
it's already
lot better
got
than
some,
what's
it's
there.
already got some artwork on it, but it's
Yeah.
not quite as,
That's
so.
good.
Impromptu art.
So it varies,
That's
but
cool.
this is all just
We'll
kind
get
of
this
going
all
through the
through Tulsa.
process. And it's kind of nice here with the Kendall Whittier, having an entity that is sponsoring these items, that if it gets defaced and stuff like this, this
Sure.
carries a lot of the same things. We don't want this to be an additional City of Tulsa expense to go out and have to clean these up, but, so it's kind of, that's the way this one is working. Kendall Whittier is kind of gonna be the adopted owner and those responsible for this. So you can read the language of the agreement, I won't bother with that, but anyhow, this is, just kind of our first shot at it after the policy has come out, and we've had very positive, things. So hopefully, as this goes up and people start seeing it, we just need to remind people that there is an application process to go through and do this, and make sure that the wraps are not interfering with the way the handles, we still need to freely be able to get access to the cabinetry, and not, putting it over the hinges and those kind of things. So we're gonna kind of check and watch this one pretty closely. And, we're probably gonna be learning right along with these folks, but we just need to make sure handles, locks, hinges, and all that stuff are not inhibited by some of these, so.
And when does this project start?
It's waiting for your all's approval,
Thank you.
so.
Carry the emergency clause.
You get too much into detail on that, I really don't know what their plan is with the artist. I think once they get it, then you go to the screening so we've seen a sample of what they'd like the artwork to look like, but I'm assuming they don't have the stickers yet, maybe they do, but, I could probably get more detail from.
I like that one, the Reptile Expo.
You like that?
That'll look good on the box.
I don't think that's.
Yeah, that's all over Tulsa
Keep scrolling,
already.
so for Counselor Bush's benefit. Is that it?
Yeah, that's last.
Okay, that's the last one, so. Anyhow, so we didn't receive any objections, so we're putting it in your all's hands to either approve or disapprove, but the Public Works Department readily recommends approval of this for all of our concerns have been addressed so far by the applicant.
Okay. Counselor Bingle?
We're doing some of this as part of the Centennial as well, along Route 66, doing some of these street signal box wraps, so, yep,
More to come.
yep, we need more of them,
Yeah.
obviously.
So I was saying I have some in my district. I think
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's great.
I think we all do.
Anybody else? Good. Oh, sorry. Chairman
No, this is
Gilbert.
a question for Jack. If we were to add the emergency clause on it, would that, I mean, of course, no?
Emergency clause only applies to ordinances and resolutions.
Okay.
This is a license agreement.
License
so
agreement.
Your approval goes into effect immediately. So.
Okay, so we don't need it?
No.
Okay,
Good, thank you.
Well, we're voting next week, right?
clarification, yeah.
Yep, next week. All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Number 7, change order number 1 to contract number 136938 between the City of Tulsa and Magnum Construction, Inc. for project number 147300 in the amount of $0. Adding 119 calendar days necessary to complete the delays for the building permits.
Yes, ma'am. As we finish up and close out projects, we do require any days added if it wasn't specifically stated that there was an allowance or something provided. There were 119 calendar days, and in the backup, 28 days were for the delay in starting the building while waiting building permits were issued, 40 calendar days for delays due to redesign of sanitary sewer and some additional work that we did as part of that project. And then 51 calendar days, there was a change in the security cameras and the lead time to actually get some of those items in. So the project is complete, money is set, but these additional days keep the contractor from being subject to liquidated damages, which is part of the contract, and only you all can approve days as part of the change orders. So we're recommending that they do be granted the 119 calendar days. It was things outside their control, met the changed conditions, and we would ask for your approval of this item.
Questions? Nope. Okay. Number 8, change order number 1 to contract number 137590 between the City of Tulsa and Jones Plan LLC for project number 147250 and SW 2020-0106 T07. You all have that one down? In the amount of $54,856.20, adding 43 calendar days to pay item surge rock installation to stabilize soil. Mr. Zachary.
Yes, ma'am. This is, if you've driven through the 21st and Lewis intersection and been looking to the southeast, you will see that the wall climbing up and the slope and the ponds that used to be at the base of the hill, where a lot of people like to take pictures, those ponds were not reflecting because water couldn't stay in the ponds. So we are working on the ponds as well as the walls, and what we found is we have a significant groundwater issue, and the contractor was having a challenge in establishing a good solid base for our foundations of our walls. We have provided a detail on that for this particular wall, and it took up about $54,856 worth of additional rock and placement time to stabilize the subgrade for this. So 3 days for the delay on the storm structure design, which we did, and then 40 days, we really had to stop work because we didn't want them to put up a wall that was not going to continue to stand. So we've got this set up. We're at 0.96%. Out of almost a $6 million project, but I can tell you just over the past few weeks as we're moving further into the pond, there's more unsuitable material, and we're working on a design right now to go forward. So we want the walls and everything standing up, and it will also help the contractors. He's building the ponds, and then we also have a 96-inch concrete storm sewer that we're building in this area, and there are some parts of that trench that there is no bottom to, and we've discovered that now during construction. So there will be additional change orders coming on this one, but this one gets, if you do drive by there and you look, there is a wall about 4 or 5 foot tall that is up on the south side of the ponds. We're getting ready to do the north side, and we've just got more of this bad material. So we would ask for your approval of this one, and then we're going to be moving forward with developing the next change order for, once we get an estimated quantity of how much rock we need. So we would appreciate the approval on this one. There was no way for us to build it without establishing this subgrade, and the contractor's been working with us very well. And we would recommend approval of this change order.
Okay. Any questions? Good. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Number 9, change order number 1 to contract number 137185 between the City of Tulsa and R&L Construction for project number 144109 in the amount of $0, adding 243 calendar days necessary for delays on the citywide ADA transition plan implementation project at various locations.
Yes, ma'am. The day breakdown is 17 calendar days for a redesign of Jasper and Elgin and Pine and Greenwood and Frankfurt. We had 20 calendar days waiting on some requests for information responses that required some public outreach. 33 calendar days related to weather, rain, snow, and cold. And then we had 173 days. What we were doing was we were getting in and around their schools, and they wanted to open up. They were hoping to have a lot more sites opened up, and we did not want to do that as we were getting close to school starting time. So we restricted them to only having 5 5 sites opened at any one time to make sure that we could close them up if we ended up having a conflict. And we did that to minimize the open sites. That was contrary to what their plan was, but they were willing to do, you give us the time, we can slow down. But if not, it was going to be $2,500 a day damages to them. So we held it, and we just let the work go as we could do it without interfering with the operations of the adjacent facilities. So we would recommend approval of these calendar days. This work is actually already done. This just eliminates the liquidated damages that would be assessed against the contractor.
Questions? Counselor Dutt?
Yeah, thank you. Where can I find this transition plan implementation project?
Where can you
Where can I
it?
find the citywide ADA transition plan implementation project?
I can get you the citywide ADA study that we did, where we actually identified high, medium, and low.
Okay.
And we are in the previous funding packages. We had a 30-year compliance plan. We had a 10-year compliance plan on bus stops. And I can get you the details, but the transition plan that we have with the DOJ is it keeps the city of Tulsa from being cited if a complaint comes, that we're not going to get fined a hefty fee. So we've got our transition plan on file with the DOJ. We have 30 years for our traffic signals, upgrades, bus stops, and then some of our sidewalk facilities. There's a 30, 15, and I believe a 10-year compliance. We have met all our bus stop changes. That was our first priority. Some of these other intersections and some of the areas, but let me get you the transition plan and we'll show that. But what we'll do in every one of our funding packages, we will try to fund something. And what we do is we go back to the DOJ every once in a while. I mean, years ago, we had, Enid got hit pretty hard.
Oh, yeah.
That had it's like a $3 million fine, not towards building something. So we've got the transition plan. Quick Trip got to participate one time, and so did Utica Square at one time. So we don't want to get into a fine, and they may get on to us and give us a consent type order to do something. But as long as we have our transition plan on file, I'll get you our latest version and let you see it.
Is that divided by districts or just locations in general within Tulsa?
It is locations, but I'm thinking there may be a table that breaks it out by council district. but it may be dated a little bit as
Yeah.
council districts modified, and I think we did it before the 2020.
Census.
There may have been some redistricting, but basically you can see the locations of where they are.
Yeah, I'd just be interested in my district, sorry y'all, but District 3.
That's how you are, so.
I will make a note to get that to you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Wait,
You have more?
Council table.
I'm sitting on this side.
All right, let's back up to number 5, about the resolution adopting the 2023 Tulsa Low Impact Development Reference Guide, the LID inspection and maintenance. I think we have somebody here. Yes, we do. Hello, welcome.
Good afternoon. Sorry for my earlier absence. The resolution that we presented is to adopt the Low Impact Development Manual and the maintenance guidelines. The Low Impact Development Program for the City of Tulsa is a voluntary program. The manual provides general guidance and best practices to developers and to projects on how to minimize the impact of stormwater drainage and on water quality. So right now, adopting the low impact development is a criteria of our stormwater permit for the city of Tulsa. The permit was issued in the 1st of February 2024. The city has until the end of February 2026 to adopt the program, and then we have another year to do the first 2 projects. We are currently working on incorporating low-impact development into city projects. So these are things like drainage swales and wetlands, it might be pervious pavement. It's things that slow down and mitigate the runoff of stormwater from parking surfaces, areas that can be contaminated, that helps prevent stormwater pollution from getting into the streams and creeks and storm sewers for the city. As we go through like pre-development meetings, our stormwater operations group and development services will ask developers to consider implementing low-impact development within their projects. Occasionally, we do get, some people who will look at doing that, but to date, we don't provide any stormwater credit or any adjustment in stormwater rates for low-impact development projects within a development, because they do have an operations and maintenance component to them. And over time, if not maintained, they kind of go back to acting just like if it was pavement or that it was gravel. So it's a voluntary program, but it does meet the requirements of our permit and provides us guidelines for how to, kind of move that forward and, continue to develop a low-impact development process within the city.
Yeah, just point of information, where can we see that manual? Is that?
I thought I had provided the manual to the city council secretary, and it would have been posted with the supporting documentation. If that's not the case, I can provide
Yeah, it's in backup. Thank you. I'll just pull it there. Question?
Well, I just wondered if the manual would have been helpful to the developers and Councilor Bengel's area.
Saga.
Don't point the finger at me.
Oh, no.
I got my own problems.
That's just a
Well-
comment. That is really even a question for you, but
Yeah,
just a comment.
I believe that the manual is available on the City of Tulsa Development website for development services. Certainly after we adopt it, we will post it on the City of Tulsa website
Yeah, it'd be
in development
included.
services.
Okay.
Development services, every time we do a pre-development meeting with the developer, someone from Stormwater will discuss low-impact development, reference the criteria, ask the developer to consider incorporating low-impact development into their projects. And as I said, it's part of our best practices to manage pollution in storm sewers and creeks and that within the city. And so the city, through our stormwater permit, is required to monitor water quality in our stormwater discharges and implement BMPs to reduce any areas where we find either bacterial pollution or we don't meet our like sediment loadings, things like that.
So it'll be a resource for you developers.
It is a
That's
resource
great.
for developers on best practices.
So much.
Great,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, number 10, update on the records and case management system project, including an overview of the system involved, project costs, one-time and ongoing project history, and future timelines for implementation. Welcome. Glad you're here.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Do we have the slides? Yep, we do. Great. Awesome. Excellent.
And Ryan, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm Major Ryan Perkins. I'm the Special Projects Division Commander for the Tulsa Police Department. Have been on the records and case management system for about 6.5 of its 12-year lifespan. And so am deeply immersed in the program, as it would be. So we've done a few slides here. I can certainly speak to all of the issues with the Tulsa Police Department. I can speak to a lot of the issues that would be associated with the other departments that are involved in the program. But there may be some questions that you have that I won't be able to answer, and so I would have to either go back to them or find an answer for you at some point in the future. So we tried to make this really quick, a brief history of the program. This started during the Bartlett administration, where they funded the ability for us to begin really the investigative phase of finding the new solution for the police, the courts, and the prosecutor's office to have a modern records management system. A reminder that our current police and court record system were instituted in 1974 and have continued to operate for the last 50 years. And the prosecutors are on paper. They have never had a records management system. They literally print everything, keep it in files, and then shred it when they're done. And so, it's time for modernization. It has been, but when we look deep into the history of this, it takes a long time to do this. And 12 years is not uncommon for this kind of a significant update. So you can see on there, we had the original contract was signed with the original vendor in 2018. We separated from that vendor in December of 2024, and we had done some research and officially got a new vendor on board for the police record side of the project, because that contract separation also involved other components. We also had to sign a new court management vendor, so we signed them in April of 24, and then very recently we have signed contracts for the new digital evidence for the prosecutor, and they are in the process of signing a contract right now for their management system. And so we are currently, we'll talk about go-live schedule here in just a minute, but that's kind of where we've been, and as we've worked through that, there haven't been any work stoppages during this time period. There's been constant work with a lot of people, but it just takes a long time to basically build something from scratch. So this is our current RCMS system, that's records and court management system. So on the left side is how things come into the system. We had field reporting systems with police officers in cars. We have citizen online reporting. It all comes through custom hand-built interfaces. Some things built by people who don't even work at the city anymore. We're not really sure how they work. They all come into the system called Tracis, which is our police records management system. Additionally, we have some paper reports and citations that go into that system. Electronic citations go into the symbiotic court management system that's called Juris, and all of that meets up, and Juris runs the courts in the city of Tulsa. So that's our current system. Here is the roadmap for modernization. So the previous to today, we had Tracis Juris, we had digital evidence in an old legacy system, we had electronic citations that were not well integrated in the system, and then we had a lot of paper records that would be moved around and scanned every day. We moved now to, we have a modern digital evidence system that works with our body cameras and with the cell phones that the police officers have to be able to bring digital evidence into a system that we can access more quickly. We have Tracis and Juris still, and we're sunsetting those. We have electronic citations still not a great solution for us, but we're working to get that better. And then we have a reduction in some of our paper records. When we go live with these systems, we will have a modern police RMS, a modern court management system. We'll have the same digital evidence management. We'll have e-citations that are going to be integrated in a much better way, where we're going to have the access to the data in a much better way for everyone. And then very minimal paper records. There are still some things that we'll have to do on occasion. Then in the future, we are looking to that modern prosecutor management system also coming online. And then, as technology advances and AI and all the things are coming online, we see that this program of projects is going to continue to move forward, and we're going to identify additional things that we need to really take these new technologies and throw gasoline on them to make them really work for the city in a great way. So that's the plan going forward. This is when we go live in May, we hope, for the RMS. These are all the things that feed into that police RMS, all of those systems, and then we spit out data out of it through some portion hand-managed system that sends things over to the municipal courts. So all those different systems are integrated into it. When we go live with the court integration system, just after that, then this is kind of what the system would look like. The police RMS goes out to that court RMS that's over there. They have a temporary payment module as they are working on a long-term solution to make it work with the city's payment system. And then electronic citations are going to push to both our system and to the court site system, as well as a warrants interface that will push through. So on this system, you see all of the boxes are a program, all of the lines are a computer integration, and those all have to be coded by someone, generally by the vendors, to make the information flow back and forth between those systems so we can use them. And then here is, once we get the prosecutor system up and running, what the future will look like. So we know that we have all of these systems that we looked at. We would add the prosecutor system plus their evidence management system that will speak to our system. And you can see that there are blue arrows for all those integrations that are funded. And then we have known integrations that are not yet funded, which are the red arrows. Also, we have up there at the top the jail management system. Right now, we have a home-baked fancy spreadsheet, basically is how I would describe it. That is our jail management system for our municipal jail. As we are going to look to the future of having a new jail at another location, when we move out of 600 Civic Center, we're going to need a real jail management system that can help facilitate bonding, that can help facilitate police records, all of those things, and we'll need integrations to that as well in the future. Then here is kind of a timeline as we're going forward for our go-lives. Currently, we are scheduled for an estimated May go-live with police. We've already begun doing training for that, and so we are looking good for that date. Courts is scheduled for just after that in June to go live, and then the prosecutor go-live is to be determined. They're still signing the contract right now. I would say minimum 6 months. Could be as long as 18 months. It just depends on how complicated that project is and how long the integrations take to build so that those systems can talk to each other. And then when we're talking about costs, up to this point from the beginning of the project, we spent and encumbered $10,452,999 up to this point. So that is things that we have spent money on to prepare. It's things that we have already encumbered because we know they are in the contract costs and that we're going to spend them before the end of the project. We have some future known unfunded contractor costs to get us to the end of the project. That's just under $190,000 listed there. You have seen some of the requests come over for the funding for that. Ongoing costs. All of these systems are not like systems we would have built in the 70s and 80s, where you either build it or you buy it and then you own it and you have it forever and you don't have to pay anymore. They are all systems that you have to sign contracts with vendors because they're doing updates, they're responsible for managing it. And on all of these systems, they're managing all the data in the cloud. And so the ongoing maintenance costs of those are in contracts that we have. And so our current, the first year annual ongoing fee structure is $643,189 at this point. There are some escalators on some of those contracts that will cause that cost to go up slightly as we're looking forward. And then we have some future unknown costs, meaning we don't know what the cost is, but we know that there are things that we're gonna need to do. Once we get the data integrated into these systems, 50 years of data into a system is gonna be messy. And so there will be some cleanup costs that we have to do on the backside once we get in and see how it really comes in. We'll have these future integrations that we talked about that we'll need to do between systems. And then there's always going to be customizations. You get in there, you think you've built it the way you need, and then when you really see how everybody does that work, they realize that they need a few things changed to make it really meet the business practices of the departments. And so those customizations will be there. What I would say is that as these costs, when we initiated the project, were pretty well known as far as they funded the project with the idea being that they would give us enough money to be able to fund the build of the project and fund ongoing costs that they knew would be there for as long as possible. Understanding that the tech fee, which is the recurring income that could help pay for this, will eventually not be able to cover this, that the cost will be there. And so all of the monies that we have in the current fee and have been recovered at some point, those monies, we would advocate would go into this project and would help to defer the need for all of our departments to come back to the city council and ask for additional funding. That will happen in the future. We look for, hopefully to be able to defer that for several years out of the funding that we have in accounts right now. And so when we talk about benefits to the citizens of Tulsa, it all kind of comes down to these 6 things. We want that transparency and accountability. We're gonna have a lot better ability to access our crime stats, the court stats, all of the things that are gonna be there. We will capture data and report it much faster. Better intelligence for proactive policing. Officers are not gonna have to search through 8 different systems to be able to do a basic police investigation. They're gonna go to one location and be able to do that. Streamlined dockets and hearing management. We're very excited that the courts will be able to run more smoothly and more efficiently. Certainly electronic access for attorneys and the public. The prosecutors having an actual electronic system is not only going to help the prosecutors, but it's going to help all the defense attorneys that are having to interact with that court and the public who are having to interact with that court because they can do things electronically in a way that they haven't been able to before. And then we want to be able to review and analyze case patterns in the municipal court. They have a huge docket, and it's very difficult for those attorneys to determine what is it that we're really seeing in trends without that stuff being in an electronic system. So we're excited to see that efficiency as well. Questions?
Yes. First of all, have other departments modernized, or are they still dealing with our peer partners, our peer departments? Have they?
Which?
I have other police departments still hand-doing things and court systems. I mean, you said 1974 was our last update, so.
Yeah, some are still doing that. A lot of agencies have modernized over the years and have made the investment to get it done, I think. I'll just say, Tracis, when we show Tracis and Juris to these modern technical developers, they're amazed that we had people who could create what they created. And they're like, we see why it took you so long to decide to change, because this thing works pretty well. Now, it doesn't do the kinds of things we needed to do now, but it's probably the reason why through the 80s and 90s we kind of just kept on keeping on, because we didn't necessarily need to modernize it as much as we need to now with the advance of technology. So, so other agencies have done that. Certainly, we've seen them have to do multiple, like Oklahoma City has recently changed. They've gone to the same RMS that we are going to.
Okay.
They had done an update within 10 years before that, and then 10 years later they were doing it again. And it took them about 11 years to do it. And so, yeah, we have seen that update. Certainly, one of the biggest drivers of the need to do this was the servers that system lives on are unsupported. You can't fix them. We can't buy parts for them if they break. So we have to end Tracis and Juris and get us into a modern system where we can do maintenance on it.
Correct, got it. Okay, first I have Counselor Gilbert.
So, I don't mean to correct you, but I do need to correct you. So, all the thanking, yes, Mayor Bartlett was a part of it, but we need to thank the voters for approving it in vision. So, this is how this happened. It was included in the vision package, and the voters saw the need that we need to change the system, so. Fire department with their fire investigators, are they
They're
involved in
yep,
this
Yep,
as well?
they will be full, they're law enforcement members of
Right.
the city of Tulsa.
I just
So,
wanted
yeah,
to make
they're gonna be
sure.
trained and they'll be in the system as well.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Yep.
Counselor Dr. Wright?
Thank you. Can we put the slide back up with the project costs, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. So, do these costs include staff time and training?
They include the cost of vendors that we have paid. They do not include like my salary for working on the project. No.
Okay, have you like kept track of the hours? It's taken a long time to get to this point, but there's been, when we talk about investment, right, there's, I'm gonna call it sunk cost, because it wasn't just you that worked on this, right? We've had 10 years of work on this. So I think to get a true cost of what we're actually delivering, it would behoove us to all really at least have a number of hours or cost departments, I mean, just a quantifiable. I know there was like, for years and years, a group meeting on a regular basis. I don't know, since you've gotten it put on your desk, what's been going on, but also for onboarding all of the personnel to learn, there's gonna be training time, right, and costs involved in that. Is that built into these
No,
numbers?
the officers have to be trained. We're using the opportunity of the 40 hours of training it takes to train someone to use the system. We're using it to get our CLEAT hours for the year.
But are you doing like train the trainer, like the vendor's gonna train?
We've already done that.
Okay, so you've already.
We are actively training our police officers right now.
Okay, so what about municipal court and the others?
Well, their vendors are going to have to train them. Those are much smaller groups of employees.
Okay.
And so the costs there are pretty insignificant in comparison to ours.
Okay, I guess I just wanna make sure that, whether it's realized through overtime or what, I mean, we're responsible for the dollar, so I just wanna make sure when we're looking at that price tag, we understand there's like more there. The tech fee, is that the municipal court tech fee? And is there some kind of X over Y where we see it no longer picks up the cost that you were saying? Like when does that?
Well, it depends on how much money is left in the accounts at the end of the project, right? So if you say that the tech fee alone will have to pay for annual ongoing costs, then probably within a year, you're coming back. But that's not necessarily the case. There are funds that will be available left in the project when we get finished going live with the first.
Those are one-time funds. Sarah,
Yeah.
is it possible as we start having our plan year discussions and whatnot to get like a, I don't know if we call it an actuarial projection of when those tech fees no longer are supporting the demands on the costs?
The cost of the software going forward?
Yeah, just the ongoing,
Okay.
because the tech fee at the municipal court doesn't drop off when the project's done, that continues on, correct?
Yes.
But at some point, whatever we're assessing for the tech fee is not going to sustain the ongoing cost, so then we're either looking at increasing the tech fee or coming up with a different revenue source to support the expense, or.
Now, I wasn't stepped out there, so I wasn't in here, so somebody may have already said this, but does that currently support personnel costs who are doing implementation of the project, the tech fee?
The tech fee pays for a couple of full-time staff members. It's a function of, that's a
Yeah.
function of what's been authorized by the executive steering committee.
And
So
then-
it's paying for a couple of court employees.
And so when the project's implemented, do you know if those would fall off?
or if somebody needs to stay on. And maybe that's the question also that you're asking too.
My understanding is those employees are full-time employees in the
Okay.
future to manage the
To manage
court
the system.
management.
Database people.
Yeah, they're
ongoing.
business administrators and configuration coordinators to run the system.
Right, I just don't want us to be in a predicament, which often happens here, where it's like, oops, we forgot to factor in this piece, and
On that.
now we need $1 million more. It would be better if we would just know going into it, right? There's the one-time costs, which this has been one time over 10 years. And then, I got that. Yeah, I think just the ongoing, because as we start to look at our plan year and like down the line, future unknown costs, if there's some kind of like predictor, a certain percent or something, just to help us plan and understand really like what it is today and what it's gonna be 2 years from now, and, some stuff we just don't know, but, is the thought that this system is going to be here for another 50 years, or no?
I mean, I would hope that I wouldn't have to do it again, but I'll tell you that the advance in technology will, at this point, the way technology is advancing, I don't think that I even know what the records management system is gonna need to do in 10 years.
Right.
Right, so at least on the police side, we've picked a vendor that we think is out on the cusp and a part of our contract is we get all the updates. We don't have to
Ongoing.
pay for ongoing
Okay.
updates nearly as much
That's kind of
as
what my question
others.
is,
And
like,
so,
it's built for the long term.
yeah,
plug-in.
it's built to pay a fee and you get everything.
Mhm.
And so that's a
Cloud-based or
part of what we've done in our contract.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Counselor Dutton.
Yeah, so thank you, Counselor Victor Wright, for those questions. I also had some questions regarding the cost and the future unknown costs. And you mentioned that OKC had already implemented this system.
Yes.
So is there a general cost associated with what they have already spent for the system?
I have no idea how much
And-
Oklahoma City has cost.
I think it would be interesting to do a comparative, even though Oklahoma City is much larger than Tulsa.
And I would say that their project and ours is very different. They only did a records management system. They didn't do a court management system.
Okay.
They didn't have anywhere near the complexity of data migration that we had to do, because they were moving from a NIBRS compliant 10-year-old system. We were moving from a non-NIBRS compliant 50-year-old system.
Okay.
And so the data differences and what we've had to do to clean our data to make it digestible into the system has been substantially different than that. And theirs was a project, ours is this program of
Right.
projects. So
Okay.
I'm not sure if we can apples to apples
Right,
compare.
okay, I understand that. Also, other cities in comparable size to Tulsa do you have information on other cities that have implemented the same program, basically, and their cost?
I don't.
Yeah, okay. I was just wondering what other cities.
Well,
might
even
have-
if Major doesn't have it, we could probably get
Yeah.
that information.
Okay. It'd just be interesting to know. Yeah, thank you.
Counselor Bingle.
Obviously, since everything is like in the cloud now, which necessitates the building of data centers, right? I'm a little curious, when, in the contract, when you're talking about software updates, you still, as part of that contract, have development aspects in that contract where as your needs change, you don't have to pay a separate ad hoc cost.
I think that would depend on what the need and the change is. So
Okay.
the way that our experience, at least on the RMS side, has been, is that as we have identified things through the build, our vendor has identified that, wow, that would be really great for everybody to have.
Right.
So they just build it into their production cycle and it rolls out. And
Right.
everybody gets it and nobody pays more for that. That has been our experience up to this
And they're
point.
beta testing it
Oh,
before
yeah,
they put it
because,
into
because they send it to
production,
us and say, what do you think? We're the beta testers for them
Okay,
on that
good.
thing, and we help them get it fully developed. And so we have a very good relationship with our vendor that has worked out really well in that instance. I would say that if we went to them and said, hey, we need this special thing that no other city's ever gonna need.
Right.
Because we have a special need for it, that's probably gonna cost money.
Okay.
And so we would have to look at what that cost would be with them and figure that out.
Okay.
But, that hasn't been our experience so far. So far, all of these special things we've needed, they've just rolled
Right.
into the cost of doing business.
I mean, obviously, you're going to tailor the system based upon your specific needs, and so I'm just curious about that, because, you know, even though there's these ongoing costs, not just the storage of data, but then if you know, 5 years from now, and is this a system that continues to progress or mature, or is this a fully developed product?
I would say that at this point, all of the law enforcement technology vendors realize that if their product is fully developed and they're not changing it, they're falling behind.
Okay.
So all of these vendors are leaning heavily into this, to the point that they're asking members of our staff to come out and help develop the next generation of technology, because we're a partner with them and a customer that they're really interested in. And so it's been a great partnership with them so far.
Good, thank you.
Counselor Dr. Wright?
Thanks. Sarah, could we schedule the municipal court to come give us their side of how it's gonna work for them? And also staffing needs or anticipated costs, like basically a
Related
parallel
to
to
the
this
system.
from the court side. And I know it's a joint effort, but they may have different, like you've got it built into your 40 hours of training. I don't know what it looks like to get all their staff trained up and ready to go.
And these numbers right here are for all of the systems. So the encumbered costs, how much it's gonna go, how will the ongoing fees, that's for records, for courts, and for prosecutors going forward. So that's
But
everybody's
this is more like the
costs.
software and the ongoing vendors
Yes.
cost. I'm trying to kind of zoom out a little bit and see is like, you've got it built into your training schedule. On the court side, are they gonna have to do some like overtime to get their people through? Do they have one dedicated kind of support database person? Those are,
I don't know.
yeah, you said you have 3, right?
What's that?
You said you have 3 or 4
Dedicated.
ongoing, will be
No, the
on,
courts have that.
they have 4, what is?
They have 2 full-time people that they've got on staff that they're gonna do it. We have 3 on our
Okay.
side.
And that's all budgeted and personnel? Okay, I'd like to just hear the court side of it, just to hear any nuances, so we,
I'll follow up with
yeah,
Laurel and.
I understand it's a big project, it's gonna at some point kind of do that and talk to each other, but the way they, keep it ongoing might be different. And also as we anticipate moving, right, there might be some other, I don't even know what, one-time cost versus ongoing. Right. Just trying to wrap our arms around all the dollars needed, but
Okay.
at least we're getting there.
Counselor Archie?
Yes. Is IMSA integrated into this? Where do they sit? Oh, okay, so.
Their records management system are separate from ours.
Okay.
We do have Gelada that kind
Right.
of has some client data that they share, but that's not this.
Okay. And then what happens to the paper records?
So we have been doing an aggressive digitization project over the last 4 to 5 years of records that we knew we needed in the system, that weren't in the system. There are some historical records that are kept on all kinds of media, microfiche, all kinds of things. The long-term plan is that, because we are going to have a system that can actually ingest and use those, that we're going to ingest those, digitize those, and put them into the system over the next several years, starting with the earliest and moving backwards. When we talk about police records, about mid-90s. Everything from the mid-90s is in Traces. Anything older than that, gotta go find it somewhere in the records division. And so we wanna get everything in the system so that even when we're working old cold cases, or we have a call for about a serial rapist from years ago or something like that, that we'll be able to quickly access those records and help those investigators.
Good. But you're not looking at shredding those documents maybe once they're
As
uploaded?
things are digitized, they are shredded, yes.
Yeah.
So, I don't know all the details of the, well, of course you have the cloud and data leaks and all that. I would just hate for any of that stuff to be lost in the cloud, right?
I think it's probably more secure in the cloud than it would have been on-prem in the servers here. Certainly, any records in the last 20 years have never been in paper. Those police reports have always been digital since we've gone to electronic reporting. And I feel that they are much safer in the Azure Gov Cloud in a CJIS secured environment that is backed up at multiple sites throughout the country, because they don't just save it in one location, they save it in multiple locations as a part of our contract, so that if one center gets hit by a tornado, it's backed up somewhere else and we don't have to worry about data loss. So, and then we have learned through this process how to write sections of data recovery and data management and the responsibilities of these organizations with our data to ensure that they have a contractual obligation to us about how to facilitate all of that. And frankly, the cyber attack taught us a lot about that. And so these new contracts have been pretty good about dealing with that.
So just curious, and you probably don't even have the program anymore, volunteers in police service or some of the folks, are you using some of your volunteers or to help scan in all those paper records, or are you having
We have a few, certainly our pre-hires that we have for the
Okay.
police department. We hire those in advance so that we can secure them and make sure they work. I got a whole crew of pre-hires down there scanning in documents every day, using those. When we have people that go on light duty and have to be in some sort of different assignment than normal,
Yeah.
we've been using them for several years to help facilitate that. So it's been a good project and the ability to do that. We're excited to kind of come to the end of that project, as it would be, and be able to use them for other investigative skills when we get live.
Yeah, I was just curious in addressing Counselor Dexter Wright's question on the other cost, right? It's the personnel cost, so trying to figure out how we utilize, because I know it takes a lot to scan paper data. That's a lot. All right, any other questions?
Expertise.
Great. Very good. Thank you so much, Captain.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
Thank you.
you. Thank you. Okay, with that, we're adjourned.
She just refunded it.